Before I start, Madam Chairman, I'm going to send up quite a bit of information and stuff, and I do have clipped here some prior history with the dog. Pictures of Fayte. They have complied, and Fayte is home now. I do have pictures and stuff of the complainant's dog. Also, just to let you know that she is also the owner of the first incident dealing with her dog as well. So I brought that information up. She actually has quite a bit of people here that I'm very familiar with, so I'll try to make this quickly so that everybody can get a chance to speak and stuff. It's the same thing, I'm passing up there in color.
Okay.
Yep, you're good.
And my name, did you get my name too?
Yes, that's on there too. It's all in color. On June 5th, 2015, Animal Control received a complaint from Jane, and I do apologize.
Fair Cobb.
Fair Cobb, from 630 Talon Court in Arnold, that a pit bull owned by Jennifer Hamilton of 1460 Falcon Nest Court, Arnold, attacked her dog Sammy, a 7-year-old cockapoo, in which her dog received 4 staples to repair the wounds at Bayside Vet Hospital. During the investigation, I spoke to Jane, the complainant, and learned that the pit bull had attacked her dog before, back in 2013. It was reported as a minor incident. In speaking with Jane, she advised that this incident on July 5th, 2015, she explained in an email statement that she was walking her 7-year-old dog Sammy and her dog Buddy on Falcon Nest. She was heading back over to the sidewalk to head back to her home when out of nowhere a brindle-colored pit bull came charging at them with no leash and began attacking her dogs. The dog went after Sammy as she was able to hold Buddy close to her right leg. She advised that she kicked the dog and screamed for help. It took about 5 to 6 minutes for the owner to come. She attempted to scoop Sammy up, and the pit bull bit her knee, and the dog was biting at Sammy's right side as I was screaming. The owner, Jen Hamilton, ran out and took her a while to pull her dog away, as she stated that she was sorry. She contacted the police, and they told her to contact Animal Control, and she called to report the incident. While she was on her way with her dog to Bayside Animal Hospital in Savannah Park, Sammy had 2 punctures that one of the wounds was stapled with 4 staples. On June 17th of 2015, General Hamilton was contacted, advised to bring her dog Fayte, a brindle ultra-female pit bull, in under public safety investigation for the animal attack. Mrs. Hamilton brought her dog in, and speaking with her, I advised her to email a statement of what occurred. Mrs. Hamilton advised in her email that she sent that on June 5th, 2015, it was approximately 3:15 p.m., she answered the door to a salesperson. She advised that her dog Fayte was next to her. She was holding her collar. The salesman asked if he could the salesman asked if he could. She then brought her, to pet her. So she brought her out onto the landing area to the front step. She advised that Fayte was licking the man and enjoying the attention. She then sat down next to her. She explained that suddenly she noticed her ears perk up, and before she could grab her collar, she ran down the steps towards the neighbor who was walking her 2 small black Yorkies, which consistently are yapping at Fayte to bring their attention to themselves. She immediately ran at top speed towards a situation that was occurring on her street. She advised that it was approximately located between the mailboxes and the speed bump in the middle of the road. This is a townhome community. She advised that she approached Janie. She asked her to stop yelling and move so that they could grab Fayte's collar. She explained that the only thing she saw was Fayte and Janie's dog barking at each other, while Janie just stood there screaming and turning in circles. She grabbed Fayte's collar and took her back to the house. Also on the same day, Jane also sent in a statement via email about the incident that happened on June 2nd, 2015 between 12:30 p.m. and 1 p.m. with Fayte while her husband Lou was walking the dogs. He explained that he was walking Sammy and Buddy in the neighborhood at a public grassy area across from a stop sign on Talon Court. She was facing College Parkway when she heard a woman screaming, yelling. He turned to see when she was yelling about when he saw the brindle pit bull with a leash in tow coming straight at them. He pulled the leashes of the dogs close to him, and the pit bull started attacking. He kicked at the dog to keep the dogs back from his dogs, but it persisted in the attack. The dog relaxed a little and then came around and got the back of his boy dog. He then punched the dog and yelled at the dog to get out of here. The dog then ran back to the woman who had lost control of the dog. It was Jen Hamilton's mother. He then started to go to the house, and the mother of Mrs. Hamilton came back and asked if dogs were okay. He advised that he checked over the dogs and they were okay. Due to the prior incident and these present incidents, Animal Control would issue a potentially dangerous order. They did comply with the order to the fullest. There was a full inspection done of the property. The dog was then released.
Okay. Mrs. Farrakhan, do you have anything you want to add?
Yes, exactly 2 years ago, on March 9th, when I was visiting Boston, and my pet sitter, who now lives in South Carolina, that we flew up, she was walking our two cockapoos right outside our door when Jen Hamilton's 10-year-old son was walking the pit bull, and that was the very first incident we had 2 years ago. I can let her share her statement with you, but what I will share with you is when she called me in Boston, I thought I had to fly home. We did take him to the veterinarian. She took him to the veterinarian. The mother, Jen Hamilton, who knows about the incident, she never apologized to us, but her sweet son, who's 10 years old, did apologize to me a couple days later. I told him it wasn't his fault. He's a young boy. Honestly, did not think that he just couldn't control the dog. I didn't want any animosity. I wasn't mean, nor did she ever ask when my neighbor knocked on the door, who was hysterical, as she was getting ready to head to the vet, could I help you? What was the bills? Can I pay for the bills? I know Janie's out of town. So that happened. I just kind of let it slide. And then 2 days in June, once with my husband and then with me, nothing happened. But there was a woman. She has moved out of the community. Her son died 6 weeks ago. She was the one that sat on the sidewalk with me when I looked at my shirt and saw blood. And I thought it was me, but I only saw a little mark on my knee. Turns out it was my dog Sammy. So she walked me to my house where my husband was upstairs, and we told her, and that woman was very kind, can I take you to the emergency room? I said, no, Buddy's fine. I've got Sammy. That's when I called the police. That's when I called Animal Control. The Animal Control said, just get to the emergency room, get your dog taken care of. And to this day, okay, because I am not a mean person, and I love children, but to this day, Jen Hamilton has never come over and asked if we were okay, what we owe you for the vet bill, which was $233, but the lady who came and sat with me on the bench that had to carry me to my house she carried the one dog while I had the other dog who was bleeding, she came 2 days later to my house when my husband just came home from church and said, I just want to make sure, is your wife okay? He goes, yes, she's fine. She has to be at Special Olympics up at Towson because I missed all the events Friday night due to this incident for this torch run. So it's scary. It's scary because I will let you know, I do like animals. And I'm just very sad at the way this dog, what's happening in the neighborhood. And I just feel that the responsibility for the dog, as far as the owner, who is Jen, not apologizing 2 years ago, never asked if she could help pay for bills. That's fine, let it go. Her mother came over on June 2nd and did apologize to my husband and ask if she was okay. She has no idea that we had to go to the emergency room until Officer Beckner, a lady named Rita, took my statement, and has to this day has never apologized. And the other statement that I would like to make is that I have other neighbors here that are willing to speak. I think it's great that they put a fence up. I think that's awesome that you have that opportunity, but I am concerned about the fence, and I need to let you know why. There's 2 openings to the fence, not 1 opening, but 2 openings. They do have little kids, and if one of those doors is left open, I'm concerned about the situation, because it just seems that the dog, for some reason, as Jen said, she was sorry as she pulled the dog off, but she said, Janie, it's only your little dogs. And maybe it is. Maybe it's only my little dogs. But I don't know. So.
Okay.
And just to let you know, Nancy, the lady from North Carolina, I know she's here and she is allowed to speak in reference to this. We do have all the prior incidents and stuff, and her statement is actually in the stuff that I passed forward, but it's also in your packets too, stuff. So if you needed to review that.
Okay, how many priors are there?
There's one prior that happened
March 9th.
March 9, 2013. We did issue a warning in reference to that case, and then when this case occurred, that's the reason for the impoundment and the orders issued, severity of the injuries.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions of Officer Beckner or Mrs. Farrakhan? Okay, we'll hear from you.
Well, I am sorry, Janie, about everything that happened. I did not go to Janie's house to apologize to her face to face because of the animosity she was showing towards me and my dog that day. And another thing is, it did not take me 5 to 6 minutes to get to Fayte. It took me under 10 seconds. So I don't know where this 5 to 6 minutes is coming in. About the fence, both entrances are padlocked, and we leave them padlocked unless my kids want to get their bikes out. And we have the keys, we've made a rule, only an adult can open the padlocks, and we'll make sure Fayte is inside securely when they're open. I've gone the extra mile. After I came and picked Fayte up, I went to PetSmart and got one of those martingale collars, but with prongs. It was a prong collar, so when I am out walking Fayte, you know, I have more control over her when she sees Janie's dogs, because those are the only dogs she pulls after. When she hears them yelping, and I know for a fact, I have witnesses, multiple other people have issues with her dogs. They've said those are the only dogs, it's like they antagonize the other dogs. And, you know, I have been very responsible with my dog. I followed the last order. I take 100% blame for letting Fayte out without a leash this last time. I have learned my lesson. I shouldn't have had her on the front stoop with me. It was a very stupid thing to do, but I have not gone over to her house because there's just been issues in the neighborhood. And I haven't offered to pay the bills because I'm a single mom of 2 kids living with my parents going through nursing school at the moment. So I did not offer to pay the bills. I would love to pay your bills when I get a job and I'm out of college. So, I don't know. I'm very upset that this happened too, but I'm upset also about how they've treated me ever since. Every time they see me out walking my dog, I've never let my dog go when she's on a leash. They glare at me, especially Janie's husband. He looks at me like I have 3 eyes, and it makes me uncomfortable. And I shouldn't have to feel that way walking around the community. And I understand
Okay,
what
well,
my
let's
dog's
stick to the point of the incident that happened.
right.
Yes.
I'm the owner of the house, Richard Hamilton. Our dog also wears a muzzle when she's taken out, and we also have a gate in the front door, one of those baby gates which prevents, so that there's a storm door, a baby gate, and a regular door in the front. All other exits are fenced in and padlocked due to the order from Officer Breckner. She's aware of all that, has taken pictures, and everything has been handled. Now, the dogs that were tangled with Fayte in the incident tend to bark continuously, usually even on their deck, and have antagonized our dogs and other dogs, and sometimes tend to aggravate the situation. And when they get totally barking and aggravating, tend to get the people involved in anything a little more agitated and causes the problem to escalate.
Okay.
So we were also thinking, you know, it would be a good idea to have her dogs muzzled when she brings them out on a walk.
They can still bark with a muzzle on.
Or at least to have
Shorter
them check
leash.
for aggression issues.
You can
Okay.
file affidavits for those issues.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
that's
I
the-
don't find that is, you know, unreasonable, being the nature of everyone else in our community having the same issues with their dogs when they're out walking.
And you can file affidavits for that. But the purpose we're here is
Is
the
the-
order, the dangerous
All right.
dangerous
Yes.
order. What's the nature of your appeal? Which parts are you
Well,
appealing?
I have an appeal against the baby gate at the front door. My mother has arthritis in her hands, and she's having a very hard time opening and closing the gate. We have a storm door that locks at the front of the house as well.
Do you understand the purpose of the baby gate?
I do, as a second barrier.
Right. And the storm door really isn't a second barrier because you can't open and close the storm door without opening the other door,
You
the
can't do that
main
with the
door.
gate either, though.
And so that, it's not really a second barrier.
Right. But it's just, I mean, I understand that, but we wouldn't open the door unless Fayte was downstairs behind a closed door. It's just, I've noticed my mom having issues opening and closing the gate, and that was the only condition that I had issues with. You know? I mean, we have it up and we use it. but-
Everything is up and has been approved and by Officer Beck.
Okay, everything's been inspected and approved.
Yes.
May I make another comment when I'm allowed?
In a minute. Okay, are there any further statements on the behalf of the defendant? Yes.
I would just like to say I am a neighbor. I've known Jen and Mr. Hamilton here for 8 years. I've lived in the community. I had my own dog. Who just passed away. 2 small children as well. Never once did we have any issues. Even when the dog was owned previously by a neighbor across the street. My dog was not aggressive, but he was a lab, chow, Great Dane, and a collie. My husband, police officer John Patty, unfortunately couldn't be here today, but also did want me to mention that he was it's a very sweet dog. And other dogs we babysat have never had any aggression issues. Our children have never had any aggression issues. And she's very well maintained, very well loved in that home. So I just wanted to make sure that, and everything was done within a week and a half's time. I mean, there was complete
Compliant?
Cooperation,
yeah,
yeah,
on
with
their part.
the neighbors and.
Me and our other neighbor Jen, and many others stand behind Jen, knowing she's a very good dog owner. Scott and Cindy are wonderful neighbors. It's very loving home. We're
And I can say that my daughter is a huge animal lover and hangs on Fayte, hugs her, loves her. And the dog is so patient with her. She's never shown any aggression. The only thing I've ever seen Fayte bark at is a bird while we're out walking her. I mean, she's a very loving dog. I have no worries about my kids being near her at any time.
Okay, Ms. Farrakhan?
I wanted to say that when the incident happened 2 years ago, when Buddy and Sammy were just being walked, they weren't barking. They never saw the dog. And since my dogs got attacked 2 years, they're not the same dogs. And I will be honestly telling you that they're not. It's sad. But they're great around kids. I had 5 children at my home last night for a picnic. They were great. I just got a new lab, so now I have a lab who is 6 months old and 2 cockapoos. All of them are together. They all get along. So yeah, your dog got attacked 2 years ago when they weren't asking for it. They weren't out there barking. They didn't even see the dog till it came. You're gonna, little dog syndrome, of course. They're gonna be, and you're right, I'll walk them. They don't want to hurt anybody. When they see a dog come, they don't bark at the dog. They bark at each other because they're trying to protect me. And that's what the vet said too. They said once with these 2 dogs, Dr. Buchanan, when I took them, she said, it's just your dogs, you're always. So I really have been trying to keep to my little corner. And we have a farm in Easton, so I've been trying to spend a lot of time at our farm. But when I walk my dogs, because I don't want an incident to happen, because I don't hate her dog, I keep my dogs to the corner now. I'm not even trying to go down the street to the stop sign. And I've been really making sure that my husband does the same thing. And I don't hate anybody. It's just sad. I don't.
Okay, any other, let me hear from the lady from South Carolina, that you were there for the first incident?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so it was March 9th, 1913, or yes, 2013. And I was taking the dogs out. My son and I, we were heading out for the afternoon. And I thought, let me just take them out to tinkle. And then I thought, I thought, you know what, we're going to be gone for a while, so let me see if they have to go poo. And they did, and I was so excited, and I'm walking down to the road, and I'm thinking, oh good, we don't have to come right back. And Sammy, she stood at attention like something, there was a dog, and I look up and I see a young boy with a dog. And that fast, when I went down to say, Sammy, no, I look up and I see this little boy on the ground, and there's no dog attached. From that moment, and it was about 50 feet away, wasn't far, From that moment, that dog was on Buddy's hindquarters. I mean, it was horrible, you know, going through the situation because you've got 3 dogs barking and yelping and screaming, and I'm standing up. I mean, I'm like this with the dogs, just trying to get this dog unattached from his hip. He lets go of, or she lets go of the hip and goes for the neck. At that moment, oh my gosh, it's like through my head, I've got to call my friend and tell her her dog or dogs are dead. I mean, I was in fear. It felt very evil. It was vicious. I mean, I'd never experienced anything like this in my life, and it was just, I mean, you know, I started screaming. You know, first I was like, get this dog, and then all of a sudden it was like, this isn't happening, or hasn't stopped, and I just start yelling, help, help, and an angel came out of a house, Lauren. I mean, at this point, I fell on the ground. I mean, you know, my head's like totally like, it just seemed like fireworks going off with all the yelling and the dogs barking. And Lauren came out, and at that moment, I didn't know what happened because I'm trying to get my grip to get up, and evidently she took her hand and took the dog unattached from Buddy's neck area. And I don't know where Aiden was at the time, but then my son finds us because he saw me walking down the left side with the 2 dogs, and then, you know, we walked up the hill and just came down the little stoop area, and that's where it happened. And so he comes running. He's seeing the situation unfold after, you know, I fell on the ground. So, you know, Lauren got the dog, and she's just standing there with the dog, and I saw Aiden. I said, what is your name? And I mean, I was hysterical. I mean, I apologized to Aiden, you know, like a couple weeks later when I saw him, like, I'm so sorry for yelling. Because my son said, Mom, I've never seen you like this in your life. I said, well, I've never been attacked by a dog before. And so, you know, he said Aiden, and because I was like, I need to know who this dog was, because I didn't know who it was. And then I needed to call Janie, so I'm on the phone, and I said, you know, I'm trying to get in touch with her, to what vet do I take them to? And so I walked down to Jen's house, and I knocked on the door, and she just came out with her arms folded, standing there, like, looking at me like I did something wrong. And no apologies, and just going off about there's a cat that's never been touched, and I was like, I don't care about the cat. I mean, I was hysterical. I don't care about this cat. We were viciously attacked. And I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. And then nothing, just standing there with her arms closed. And that's, you know, and then I'm talking to Janie and, you know, getting the information. And then she was going off about something else, about you people don't know what we're going through. And I'm like, what does that have to do with, you know, anything? So I, you know, my son's helping me to, you know, he had the dogs at that point, to get a towel to put it in the car, and so we could take him to the vet. And that's about it. I mean, the dogs were walking. One minute, Sammy let me know there's a dog in the area. Next thing, the dog's there attacking, and they haven't been the same since. You know, they're a little different now. Just, you know, afraid going outside, kind of like looking over their shoulders.
Okay, anybody else have any testimony?
Can I please say something to that? They're making me out to be this vicious, horrible person. I am not that way at all. There is other things added to this. My son came home crying his eyes out and said that he just got yelled at. Yelled at and was
Okay.
It was horrible.
This is personal, stuff, has nothing to do with the attack.
Right, but I am not as vicious as they're making me seem to be.
And none of that has any bearing.
None, and that has no
There's
bearing on this.
There's no bearing.
Okay, is there anything else pertaining to the animal attack? My question to you is, how much training has your dog had? Real, honest-to-God training?
I have not had any training with her. I've not put.
Have you considered it?
Yes, I have.
Is there some reason it hasn't been done?
Well, she was not, like, she didn't need any training.
Yes,
I've had her.
She obviously does.
Okay, I've had her at the dog park. I've had her around other dogs, and nothing like this has ever happened. I've talked to my vet about it, and he even said that he would testify, but I didn't think it was going to come down to this. She is not an aggressive dog. She has never, ever, ever acted aggressively before until this situation.
What about 2 years ago?
I was not there. Lauren, who they're talking about, told me the dogs were outside barking.
That was during the fight.
She said that they were barking and that they brought attention to themselves, and they have a tendency to do that. She is now a dog owner, and she said the same thing, that those dogs are the ones that start to bark and bring attention towards them.
Okay, all right. Is there anything else that anybody else wants to offer on the situation that we're dealing with? Yes.
So, I feel the first thing I should mention briefly is that there was some strong character witnessing earlier. So just to clarify, Janie is a great person, but she's also a pillar of the community. So I want to be clear that that's my standing and that of many other people. Secondly, I appreciate that you probably have more engagement, some people here, with this animal than I do. But I have young children who often walk dogs with Janie, and had my daughter, who's 3 years old, been standing there when her knee was bit. And to me, for what it's worth, I'm not worried about the fact that the dog attacks another dog. I'm worried about the fact that it bit a human being. And had my 3-year-old been standing next to her, she'd probably be torn to pieces. Now, I don't know what this dog does. I don't know how it behaves. People can make noises and smirk, but at the end of the day, it's a vicious creature that's attacked 3 times. That's unimpeachable. It's been admitted to. And I just want to be comfortable that when I go home this evening, I can be resting assured that my children are safe, who live directly across the grass from this home, and we have the only steps in the community to go down to this common area, aside from theirs, where the gate will be. I need to be assured, without me putting a gate on my steps, which I will not do for a creature that's violent. I want to be assured that all of you in this tough process you're in are confident my children are safe.
My dog has not bit anyone. I'm sorry, but when I went down and grabbed Fayte, Janie never said, "Your dog bit me." And if you've been bit by someone's dog, that's the first thing you're gonna say. And she never, ever once said that. It could have been her little cockapoo that turned around and bit her knee. It was such a chaotic situation.
Okay.
Well, he doesn't know what he's talking about saying my dog bit someone. My dog has never bit a human being.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Hamilton, the commission has come to a unanimous decision, and we are going to uphold the potentially dangerous order in all of its elements at this point.
Okay.
If you're unhappy with that decision, you've got the right to appeal to the County Board of Appeals. You have 30 days to do that, and the letter you get from Animal Control will detail that process.
Okay. All
All right. right.
right.
As
As far as the baby gate goes, there are other ways you could position it that may make it easier for your mother.
Right.
Or maybe trying a different gate. The point is to have a secondary barrier between the door exiting and there. So if you can put it farther back from the door, that would be more ideal
Right.
as far as the barrier goes.
Right.
And maybe trying some different type of latching system.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.